Welcome back, ladies and gentlemen, to our live coverage covering the latest updates taking place within the region. To explore these political dimensions in greater depth, we're now joined in the studio by our guest, Mr. Jassim Qabazard, engineering consultant and businessman. Hello, Mr. Qabazard. Thank you for joining us again.
It's my pleasure again to be here. Thank you.
Let's begin with our first question. From a governance perspective, how do regional geopolitical shifts influence policy priorities and decision-making frameworks within Kuwait and the GCC?
Speaking of the GCC, there always has been a protocol between them where they maintain flexibility of relationship between each other, each one according to their local environment of geopolitical situation. But they understand each other because there are common cultures among the GCC, which they can communicate very easily with each other. So this availability of flexibility within the policy making and the policymakers themselves provides the flexible nature of communication, accepting, resolving, discussing, agreeing, disagreeing. But at the end, they do come up with resolutions which are acceptable mostly by all of them. So this type of governance is unique of the area, and it has become like a protocol which at all times they apply. They agree that no matter how sometimes they have disagreements among themselves, which is natural, but at times of crisis and crisis management, they do come on the talking table and they resolve whatever is outstanding to the better, let's say, advantages of the region and of each country also in the meantime.
Now you mentioned that the various countries of the Gulf, although they may have their differences,
yes,
they do at the end of the day come together and find
correct,
a resolution.
Yes.
I would say this is a stronger suit in the GCC compared
yes,
to, let's say, ASEAN or the BRICS nations or the Five Eyes
okay,
in the West.
yes.
Would you say that it's the culture of the region that allows the GCC bloc to be that closely knit?
It's two things mainly, is the culture and what you need to exist and continue and be a sustainable lifestyle for yourself. We have all grown from a background where oil was not available and we had to deal with simple trade. And trade has no borders. Everybody works with each other as long as the business deal is solid and is safe and is honest. So this created a self-discipline style in the life of the Gulf state people. Generally, they are men of the sea, correct, and trade. And these type of businesses, or calls it professionals, create a very tough, focused mindset of the people. They think in a very clear goal, and they take their risk after proper calculation, and they allow for calculated risk, but they have to be adventurous, to some degree. This lifestyle, when it comes on a region where you have from the north coast of the Arabian Gulf all the way down to the Arab Sea and the Indian Ocean, all this region, all experienced and shared the same type of professional business, professional work, professional lifestyle, and they were limited to carpenters and ironmongers and let's say dealing with gold and silver and let's say fishing plus pearl diving. Other than that, there were no real industry.
It was agricultural and commercial trade.
Very limited agriculture, barely, mainly because water, it was so scarce. So water was a common factor which made many things in the lifestyle of the Gulf state people very much similar. So it gave it its unique character.
So would you say it was the environment of the region that gave us this sort of code of conduct?
Very much.
In commerce and diplomacy?
Very much so.
Now earlier in your first answer, we were speaking about how there will be regional action.
Yes.
Does this provide an opportunity to create a sort of regional defensive bloc, a shared military maybe between the Gulf states?
To a
Or
certain,
do you think that's further down the line?
no, I believe it has shown that we share security and defense policies among each other. There are some common, let's say, denominators between us. One is to support each other. And we've had some, let's say, organizations like we did Dir Al Jazeera, which represents a solidarity of defense in the Gulf State region. These things indicate that even for defense and security and providing, let's say, a calm environment for people to live in without anxiety and distress, these common joint operations of maintained security and exchanging military pieces, military information, exchange of special information among these states to maintain a solidarity front for any aggression that may come to the country.
I'm glad you brought up the idea of integration and coordination among the various security apparatus in the Gulf. We saw in the last 2 or 3 days some terrorist cells were exposed and arrested here in Kuwait.
Yes, correct.
Do you believe that this is a result of the coordination and cooperation with GCC countries?
Definitely.
In terms of sharing their information and security apparatus?
Yes, definitely. Even before the events, we see examples of, for instance, fighting narcotic traffic in the region. We find the Gulf states are always coordinating, and they can find and catch, apprehend narcotic traders that do this business within the Gulf regions. And you find them, sometimes they catch them in Kuwait, but the information came from the Emirates or from the Saudi Arabia, and vice versa. Plus, that there is also Ministry of Interior exchange of information between the Gulf states, and I think we have unified the civil ID card, and that acts as a let's say general base of data information for all region partners to make use of and exchange information.
Mr. Qabazard, from a risk management standpoint, how should the governments balance between the immediate security concerns and the long-term development goals?
We have had spells of disturbances in our area. Some of them were military, some of them were internal disputes in terms of regional cohesion, and try to each one to first of all create their own personal identity. Secondly is to share and enhance regional communication and solidarity among themselves. These factors do play and have played in generating a consensus and an awareness to provide a regional security platform among themselves for such situations. I believe by now we have seen examples of so many meetings have been held between ministers of interior in particular on their level to coordinate and exchange information and transfer of information and knowledge to maintain a unified process of bringing law and order in the area on a general basis. So this has been going on, and I believe now that we have gone through a very, very, very severe experience by being attacked, the nation being attacked by outsiders who mean harm for us, that now we are entering a new phase of required coordination and planning to strengthen the front of defense on a military basis in the whole Gulf states. Because as we can see, any one partner of the Gulf, of the GCC, if it gets hurt, the whole body of GCC comes to their rescue and share and give their condolences and their support and whatever is needed to maintain the solidarity and that feeling you're not alone in this battlefield.
On that point of solidarity, and you mentioned that the Gulf leaders have been having a lot of meetings. Yesterday we witnessed the foreign ministers of the Gulf having a video conference based in Saudi Arabia.
Exactly.
What can you tell us from this meeting? What is the message that is being sent?
The message is that the situation has become very grave and very sensitive and very dangerous for the existence of the Gulf states. And if one Gulf state gets attacked more than the other, doesn't mean that the brother state will stay.
They'll abdicate from the situation.
Indifferent about it. So since on everything else we've been sharing information, I think it is most important and required that they should get together the sooner the better and coordinate their effects of maintaining security and stability in the area and act wisely and not have one party, for instance, acting out of the group in a way that can damage itself and can damage the partners. So coordination is vital, and this is a timely occasion for them to get together. And I believe it gives also us as the people watching what's happening more confidence and trust in that our governments are aware and they are thinking ahead and they are planning accordingly as the situations is appearing and exposing the unknown limits that we were not exposed to before. So the reality of the graveness of the incidents and this war environment has forced us, even if we didn't want to, has to force us to get together. And this is a natural reaction, no doubt. And it is required by these governments to attend to this, to maintain the stability of the region as a whole.
Now, we saw last night the attack, I believe it started the day before, and then the subsequent attack last night, attacks on Iran's oil production,
yes.
Natural gas production, and then subsequent attacks on Qatar and Saudi Arabia's production.
Yes.
This is a grave and dangerous escalation in the crisis.
Exactly.
Do you think this will give all concerned parties a moment to reflect and sort of find an off-ramp, or is this a continuation of further escalation?
The fear is that we have two bodies. One is the might of the United States of America, and the other one is also the force and the importance of presence of the Israeli regime in our area. And they are both have put hand to hand together to reach goals which they started with, and now it seems to be these goals are shifting. And we are seeing that they're changing according to the battlefield. Mainly because the enemy Iran is surprising them by its missile inventory and missile attacks. So some of the results have been unpredicted, some of them has been a surprise. So it creates anger and anxiety from the aggressive party. And unfortunately, as you can see today, as we're talking about 17, 18 days into the war, these strategic locations were not at the time priority targets. It seems that they ran out of targets and now coming to the nerve center of our existence, both for whether it be for Iran or for the Gulf nation. And we have heard calls from the President of the United States that the Arab countries have to become partners in this war. He's claiming that we should now be partners. In other words, indulge ourselves into the military action, which is beyond our capability. First of all, it was not expected. On the contrary, we were expected to be protected, not to become partners into this problem.
And we see him doing this with European countries and Russia and China, calling them to send forces to the Strait of Hormuz.
Exactly.
Do you believe this is him sort of abdicating responsibility for this war and trying to find anyone to take
that shows to me it's running out of ammunition. I mean, they tried their direct aerial attacks and sea attacks and marine attacks, naval attacks, and did not get what they are looking for. So now they're calling for the international community to participate, mainly because the Strait of Hormuz is closed and their interest is directly affected. So he's calling upon them, okay, now you are all affected because of this, you should come and save your assets.
Now, is it saving their assets, or is it more saving the United States?
Well, this is the point. This is the point. Everybody now is very open and understand exactly why the United States is calling for this, or Israel, is that now in a bind. They cannot continue like this, and they're not getting anywhere. They're getting more retaliation from Iranian forces. Mind you, whatever the human casualties are increasing, whether on one side more than the other, but at the end, the war intentions are not achieving their goals. So first started by getting the Gulf states under pressure to participate, and I believe that's why our foreign ministers are getting together to be able to how to handle this pressure coming. I don't want to say a request or a demand, but it's a pressure coming from the United States on us. Indeed. Because we are their allies. We've always been their allies. And they have to find a way, plus that, in addition to the international community is being directly involved. By the way, it is becoming evident that really the countries which are mostly adversely affected are not the Europeans, nor the United States. It's Japan, China, India, maybe to some extent Russia.
It's the Asian community that
So
will
it's the
take
Asian
the hit.
community, it's the Eastern Bloc,
Yes.
the eastern side of the Arabian Gulf, including Iran. So they're trying to drag them also into this, but they are wise, and they said, they're all saying now, you did not consult us, you didn't ask for our permission, especially the European allies and partners of the United States, because as we go back to the war at Ukraine, you could see some sort of a solidarity between the United States and the European countries, and they all participated in the war in Ukraine.
Correct.
But this particular one, it's not the same.
They're very hesitant.
They're hesitant, irrespective that they have been partners in another war. But here we are talking about the existence of each country. To what extent can they involve themselves in this? America has a large army, whether it's naval or air, but the Europeans cannot match that. And loss of any piece of military tool equipment, being airplanes or naval pieces, is very valuable and very detrimental to the security of that own nation itself. So they are playing a very, very careful game right now, but they are acting, in my opinion, very reasonably and logically, sensibly correct by saying, no, we don't want to get involved.
On this point of the U.S. military being the largest military, we do know that they have the largest navy, and they're the ones who are protecting maritime trade routes.
Right.
We are seeing reports that there was a fire on the U.S. Gerald R. Ford aircraft carrier.
Yes, and Abraham Lincoln.
And the Abraham Lincoln as well.
Yes.
Because it's war and there's a fog of war, we can't be 100% sure on this information.
Right.
But there are growing rumors and reports that the Ford is being returned to a port for maintenance.
Yes.
What does this do to American
Also Abraham Lincoln
is also being
it was hit first before the
correct.
Ford.
The IRGC announced that they had hit it.
That's why it turned around and left the area.
So now what is the position that the U.S. has in this conflict?
Embarrassment.
And it makes them sort of a paper dragon that they constantly
I don't want to say paper dragon. They're still very nasty dragon.
True.
But this was a blow, a very hard blow. And I believe it was unexpected, I'm sure, because the degree of, or the amount of military and naval support that these aircraft carriers, have around them, do actually provide a very, very strong defense system. However, they managed the Irani ballistic program to target and hit these flat surfaces. And they don't need to sink them. All they have to do is
hit the target.
Is hit the runway and make it out of commission, and it's a runway which is not functioning. So all the planes, whatever is on it, cannot function anymore.
And it's true.
But the psychological impact on the army itself, on the government of the United States, and on the people of the United States, plus the world. Now this shows the might of American naval capabilities, and it gets scratched.
It's diminished a little bit.
Actually scratched deeply to the point that they had to go to hospital. I mean, this putting a soldier out of commission.
Sure.
Okay, he's alive, but He cannot use them anymore. He can't fight. That's it. So that's a danger zone for any other nation which thought the United States would be invincible in this. Mind you, Bab al-Mandab is still quiet.
True.
Okay? Bab al-Mandab is another strategic choke point. So I believe Iran is waiting, and the Houthis are waiting to see if it's necessary to activate that part of the world also. Right now, luckily, alhamdulillah, the Kingdom of Saudi Arabia is the only gateway to provide food and have transfer of some fuel across the Arabian Peninsula to the Red Sea, so that the world is not totally disconnected. However, if Bab al-Mandab gets closed, that means the same situation of Hormuz will repeat itself, but this time to a much bigger degree, because that means really all the traffic in the ocean have to go around the Cape of South Africa, all the way around to reach their targets and ports. So still the future is grim in my opinion, and I still say that the Arab nations have to forget their problems and whatever they are, and become let's say a unified bloc in this region, the Arab region, where they have frontage on the Persian Gulf, Arabic Gulf, and on the Red Sea. So these two locations are geographically very, very important geographical locations and connections to the two parts of the world.
There are windows to the world.
Exactly. So I believe that the Arab nations, and hopefully in this meeting, they find a way to relax their dependence on the United States, not disconnect. They are our allies. But the fact that the bases have not been very active in making a decisive end to the war. On the contrary, they brought war to our region because of their existence. And naturally, the United States has to move its troops out of these dangerous locations into maybe to other areas. So effectively, they are abandoning these
the bases.
These bases. Yeah. And we are left with trying to just
clean up the mess.
Take care of it and defend it and defend ourselves. So I really hope that the Arab world get together, and not to be neither on the Iranian side nor to the US side, but to act on your own and have your say, because you have the geographical, strategic presence in the world as a link between East and West. You have important waterways at your disposal, including the Arab Sea, coming from Oman and Yemen, that area. So they should, with the might of the financial power we have, most of the leading portfolios, financial portfolios, are from our area, from Saudi Arabia, from UAE, from Kuwait. We all hold these large financial portfolios in the world. So we have the financial arm and the financial power to maybe be influential and effective in any kind of negotiation to bring peace and settlement into our region.
So in a way, sort of asserting a regional sovereignty and influence in the world.
Yes.
I'm glad you mentioned the bases because they were once a promise of protection, but now they've become a guarantee of threat and danger.
Yes.
And you were mentioning the economic impact of closing Bab al-Mandab.
Yes.
How do the fluctuations in regional security conditions affect investor sentiment and capital flows into Gulf countries?
It's now evident. It's direct. It's direct. I mean, there's no more speculation, and then there's no more ambiguous questions. It's become very direct because these funds are related to the outflow of oil and gas from our area, and the inflow of food to us. These are the sources, the gateways to bring food to us, because by now it is clear we neither have food security nor we have any kind of industry that from which we can, for instance, ask for reciprocation in business and economics and investment with the international world. So mainly we are all producing oil producing countries with abundancy of finance and thinkers, financial thinkers. So we're not only talking about available funds, but you're talking about available businessmen who can, let's say, conduct proper investment on international scale and be able to get the satisfaction and approval of international community to deal with us. We have in all our countries very strong legal system. We have a very strong and organized financial system. And we also have a security system, internal security system. As we can see, we can pretty much maintain security in our region within this commotion. An example is to catch a group of people who are trying to sabotage our country. Okay, we had that in Bahrain, we had that in Qatar, and now we have it in Kuwait. So this fact about our region needs to be exposed, needs to be strengthened, needs to be solidified, needs to be organized, and we are dealing about not just about internal communication. We are dealing with the international community. That means we're talking about the legal and legislative arm of this business. And we have very good lawyers and businessmen who are internationally very capable of dealing with international court cases. We have had good experiences after the invasion of Iraq to Kuwait, where we go after claiming compensation.
Yes.
We were very effective in the United Nations community, very effective with international law and international tribunal courts here in Europe and La Haye and so forth. So this conglomeration of experiences which you need for a country or for a conglomeration of countries such as the Gulf states, including the United Kingdom of Saudi Arabia, this group of very cohesive, very coherent Arab countries, we can be a very good and a powerful, strong arm to work with the world.
Now, in the very early days of the conflict, we saw reports that several Gulf nations were not threatening, but warning the United States that they may have to pull their investments out of their markets in order to deal with the economic situations here.
Yes.
I understand that we are big players in the AI industry there.
Yes.
And with the cutting off of oil, semiconductor chips necessary for the AI data centers will become a lot more expensive. We already see the prices rising from months to a year ago.
Yes.
So in terms of cash flow now leaving the U.S. markets and returning back to the Gulf region, will this not add another layer of pressure on the U.S. to end the conflict?
I don't know. It doesn't appear to be, or is not. He is not
listening to the pressures.
No, he is not saying it. I'm sure he knows about it because the advisors, they keep track of what happens at Wall Street. They keep track of the stock market. They keep track of international business between U.S. and Europe and the world. So I'm sure this part of the problem, let's call it this way, is snowballing, and it's showing that it's been affected by what's happening in the Gulf area. And I believe President Trump is now realizing there has been some miscalculation about this, where he either didn't want to accept, or he didn't want to hear, or he didn't comprehend that the importance of not prolonging this war so that it would spill over to closing of Strait of Hormuz and possibly Bab el-Mandeb, that this was not taken into consideration. Now the effects are showing in the market, starting with the price of gasoline in the United States, which has gone up drastically. It has reached pockets of American public which is beyond their comprehension and capability.
I believe in California it's become $8 per liter.
That's quite a bit for working people. And this is the majority of people who vote. And these are very simple, well-organized lifestyle, and every penny they make has a place in their budget every year. So such a disruption in just the value of fuel disrupts their whole business, because every day they travel.
Correct.
Now, if they don't travel by car, they have to travel by train, and train or buses. They also, their tickets are going to go, as we say, sky high, because they have to use fuel. So at the end, everybody is being affected by this, even if it goes on the motorcycle. This affects the production of electrical vehicles. Yeah. Electrical vehicles need battery, and many of the material comes from our region. Source of battery is coming from our region to the world. So that's a direct effect on it. Not to mention food, not the United States, but we're talking about the Eastern Bloc.
Correct.
As I mentioned the other day, the gas which comes out of Qatar in particular goes to India, and they turn it into urea and then to fertilizer.
Yes. Okay.
Their season to start fertilization have 5 weeks left. 5 weeks. It was 6 weeks ago. Now it's 5 weeks. If it does not arrive on time, they will not be able to start their agriculture.
And we did see India be allowed to move 2 tankers through.
Yeah.
Iran did give them permission, and one of the conditions was you must trade in the yuan, no longer the dollar.
Yes. Okay.
Is there a chance that we see more ships going through trading in the yuan? And what does that mean to the U.S. petrodollar now?
No doubt, Iran in particular has tried long time ago to break away from the dollar. So this is one of their strategies, is without going directly to the case, but go indirectly by forcing the world to say, what do you want, Iran, for us to deal so that our goods can pass through the Strait of Hormuz? They're not talking about military, they're talking about mainly commerce.
Yes.
Okay? So commerce means exchange of money. And this is where Iran wants to break away from the dollar for this. And apparently it may be able to do it, because both China and Russia at this time, they are silent observers, and they're watching what's happening, and whatever is happening is to their interest. Russia already got the sanctions lifted, so he's selling oil and can sell to everybody, especially gas to Europe, which was all under sanction.
Yes.
Now they may be even begging Russia to get some gas for their needs. So this shift of business can generate the environment and what you need for these trade tools to say, let's use a different currency rather than the dollar. And by the way, if any dollar has to be spent, has to be approved by New York.
Yeah.
So this will break any relationship and control by New Yorker financial institutions. This goes back to the days where globalization was introduced in our region. Now we know why there was globalization. It's not for the better interest of us. It was for the better interest of the United States and the financial market over there. So they control every penny that has to do with dollar.
Sort of transfer. If everyone is dependent on this one giant system,
yes,
you cannot break away from it.
Not only dependent, but it's controlled. I can say that your account, personal account, and my personal account in our central bank is being monitored by New York. They can easily follow and say, what is Jassim's doing with his money? And what is Mr. Jassim doing with their money? And stop it, don't stop it. They have that much. All under the umbrella of globalization, and we all signed contracts, and we have to abide by these contracts. One thing that we are weak of, and we cannot annul any such contract, because we are poor countries in terms of might and power. We cannot. We are weak countries, not poor, weak countries. So it is the might of the financial system in the United States that has been able, through globalization, to have direct knowledge and control of dollar flow. Not any other currency, but dollar flow. Now, we know about the SWIFT system,
yes,
which is allowed.
Russia was cut off.
What was cut off. Iran has cut off since a long time. That's why they're suffering from their sanctions. So what's going on right now, and maybe the world is beginning to see, not because Iran caused it, but because it's a fact. It has now become status quo. People are realizing that it's about time, let's have another look at this. Okay? And with this, events which has happened in our region, particularly in the Gulf region, where the American bases were badly hit by the Iranian forces, has broken the trust into American military system. And especially in the news media, not the open news media, we're talking about the special reports that come out from small channels, from TV channels,
yes.
They come up with reports where the United States cannot produce enough defensive rockets, not only to defend what's happening in Israel, even America. So it's transporting some of its needs of rockets from different countries.
From South Korea, famously, we're seeing
yes.
them moving it to the Israeli
Bring it to the, so he's strengthening the capabilities of those nations voluntarily, because he's taking them out of there for the sake of Israel. And this is, the world is watching. The world is small now. The communication is very strong. The internet and all the satellite communication has made the world very, very small and very easily to communicate with each other. So in totality, with time, I believe let's say the global image of America being the controller of many things in our life is beginning to have cracks in it. I can't say diminishing, but it's being cracked, it's been attacked. And that leaves some room for other major forces to feel encouraged and feel that they can now enter this crack and make a wider crack and generate disruption in the balance of power in this world.
Mr. Qabazard, you mentioned that the world is now watching as the U.S. takes its THAAD system from South Korea and moves it here to the region.
Yes.
No matter how this goes, whether Iran comes out victorious or the U.S. comes out victorious, don't you think that America is losing a lot of political capital in this fight? That the other nations are watching what's happening to the allies of the U.S. and seeing that there's been sort of, let's not say an abandonment, but a deprioritization in their defending?
I think, yes, this is naturally happening. And it's not something that we wanted, but it just came out by itself. And neither the United States wanted to be in such a bad predicament, nor were we interested into
becoming a
breaking away from the, let's say, United States partnership alliance. But people, I would say general people. Now, you know, by the way, there are two things. You have governments and you have
people.
And I think today the people are beginning to talk. They are beginning to show their reaction to what's happening in the world. And we're talking about, let's go back to the United States in particular. It's the people today who are going to vote in the upcoming political scene. And not only that, I hear also some bad vibrations coming from the non-Jewish people in America. That why, by the way, not talking about Jewish, mainly talk about Israel.
Yes.
All right? And you know, to me, Israel is a Jewish Hezbollah.
That's an interesting way to put it.
Yeah, it's a nation, okay, much bigger than Hezbollah. Hezbollah is a political, religious group, and this is a political, religious
nation.
So they have the same goals. They want to dominate. And in the United States right now, they are being under test by the people who voted for this for the President Trump and his party. And I believe now, because of the oil in particular, and now it's hitting the American pocket, and they're very sensitive and very vocal. And I hear from them that President Trump, when he went in his campaign, he promised that no more wars.
Yes.
And even called them stupid wars. All right? And he doesn't want any American souls to be at jeopardy because of wars which don't relate to aggression to the United States. The United States, their constitution is very clear. If I get some aggression by another nation, I go to war.
I will respond.
Other than this, if there is no harm, no fear of any kind of, let's say,
a threat to the U.S.
A threat to the United Nations, to America, they would not move. And this has become now an argument inside the community of the American people that, and even in the Congress, and I think nowadays there is some session going on about this, as to did Iran create a threat to the United States according to our constitution that justified attacking. If that has not happened, then President Trump and his government has not gone according to the Constitution of the United States.
It's interesting you mentioned whether Iran poses a threat, because I believe just yesterday night or the day before, Joe Kentz, the director of Counterterrorism Center in the U.S., resigned.
Yes.
And in his letter, he put very frankly, but very professionally, that Iran did not pose a threat to the U.S. Exactly. There was no indication of creating a nuclear bomb. Even Tulsi Gabbard, director of national intelligence, she came out and said that their nuclear capabilities were destroyed last year.
Right.
So we're seeing within the Trump administration itself, from voices that would traditionally support him and voices who we expected to have some pushback against him. Both of these sides are now pushing back against him. And we're seeing a lot of contradictions in his messaging versus Pete Hegseth, the Secretary of War. What can you tell us about this disarray or this disorder in the administration?
I'm not too involved into that. Their politics, from what I see, what I hear, is that the Republican Party have, through the leadership of Trump, President Trump, have selected the people who think alike as President Trump does.
If they think.
If they think, whatever. Their intentions, whatever they are. And it seems that, as I say, birds of a flock.
Birds of a feather.
Birds of a feather flock together.
Yes.
And that's it seems to me, because during this year that he took the presidency, many important personnel resigned because they could not handle the type of communication President Trump had with his staff. It was more domineering, controlling, and not abiding sometimes, as they claim, to constitutional procedures. So he's working against the better interests of the United States in their mind. So they move away from him. So it gets replaced by someone who says yes sir to you. So a yes sir man.
So, yes.
And by the way, Iran, since its revolution, has always said death to America, death to Israel. Okay? America didn't do anything. They keep hearing, fine, it's Iran. I mean, it's a little child screaming, making noise, as we say, a little fly flying away. Speaking in terms of might and nature. So Iran never posed a threat other than screaming. Israel is the one who didn't like what's going on, because their position, geographical position, is totally different than the United States. But because the Jewish lobby, the Israeli lobby in the United States managed to have a majority in the Senate, so they get the majority vote, siding to Israel. Typical democracy procedure.
True.
I mean, you can't expect other than that.
These are the mechanisms of the government.
That's the mechanism, and that's the fact of life. So anytime President Netanyahu goes to the United States, he meets the Congress, it's like he's talking to his own people. They clap for him 500 times, they praise him and everything, and it seems as though that whole Congress is working for Israel. So naturally, now that they remember why the Iranian regime keeps saying death to America, and now he says, okay, no more. Israel came into the picture and kept pushing, and Israel alone will never take Iran single-handedly, never. It's apparent, you know. Even Hezbollah at its peak, Israel was very hesitant to make a massive war with them.
Because it couldn't handle a multi-front war.
Exactly,
with Hezbollah,
because the amount of damage that they could, give to Israeli people is much higher than when they could. However, putting that aside, was talking about the Israeli lobby inside the United States found it a very suitable time now with the presence of President Trump to have America do the proxy war on behalf of Israel.
Mr. Qabazard, could you just hold on to that point, because we're going to be joined with one of our live correspondents out on the field,
of course,
and we'll resume our interview, sir.
Of course.
Ladies and gentlemen, speaking to us now via live stream will be Mr. Khalid Al-Hajji, who's out there on the field. Hello, Khalid, can you hear us right now?
Yeah, I can hear you loud and clear, Muhammad.
Khalid, can you tell us where you are right now and what are the current updates taking place around you?
Well, I'm in the Ministry of Public Works. Before I say everything, just Eid Mubarak to all our dear viewers that watching us right now. And here in the Ministry of Public Works, everything is running smoothly. All teams are ready and prepared for any incident that would happen on roads or anything due to the heavy rain. And also, as you can see, this is the rain map for the whole country, and you can see how deep and heavy is the rain today. So one of the things is stay home and stay safe. I know everyone wants to go out shopping for Eid, but at the moment just stay safe. While I was talking with everyone here, they assured that the rain will stay heavy till at least 2 a.m. Tonight. And also they assured me that they are ready for any incident that happens, if it's a maintenance or a road work, something that comes up, that they are ready for it. And also one of the things that I saw here, that everyone is prepared for any incident, if it's here or also in any ministry of Kuwait. I was out on field for now more than 2 weeks, and everywhere I went to, they are ready, prepared, and waiting for any incident that would happen, just to go out and help.
Now, Mr. Khalid, could you tell us, during your correspondence out on the field, what have been people's reactions as you see them in the markets or by the walkways or out by the street? How have they responded to the current crisis?
Well, Muhammad, since I was out since day one, maybe first 2 or 3 days, people were a bit afraid from inside. There is fear inside them. But when days go on, people now are sure that we have people behind us worrying about us and working daily hours just to let us be safe. That's why, if you remember, I always advise everyone to not look at any of the social media fake news. Just take your news from the official sites, because they are working to let us be safe. And whenever you obey and listen to the instructions that comes out from them, this will make you more safe even. And Alhamdulillah, we are here safe in Kuwait because of their work. And as you asked, yeah, I can assure you that after 2-3 days of the whole situation, people feel more safe. Yeah, they stay at home, choosing their safety and not going out until it's an emergency, but at least when they go out for those emergencies, they go out with safeness inside them. They are not afraid to go out. That's one of the things that I saw it in everyone that I talked to.
Well, Mr. Khalid Al-Hajji, thank you very much for being out on the field and giving us the latest updates taking place. Ladies and gentlemen, we'll now resume our interview with Mr. Jassim Qabazard, an engineer, consultant, and businessman. Mr. Qabazard, you were just speaking to us about the Israeli lobby in the U.S. If this war were to continue until the midterm elections, do you believe not just the MAGA party or faction of the Republican Party, the Republican Party as a whole, will it lose control of the Senate and then therefore lead to a possible impeachment of Trump?
That seems to be the indication. The way the present U.S. administration is running the events, both locally and internationally. So there's for instance, aside from what's going on the battlefield, let's say the locals, the local condition inside the United States is boiling, is very aggravated. Perhaps not so much as to why you are in a war, but why are you spending so much money to support Israel, where we need fractions of that to benefit the American needs, such as healthcare, talking about Social Security, and talking about the poverty, which many of its people are suffering from, and that is the homeless people. I heard we're talking about more than 35-40 million homeless people in United States. Some cities which used to be very vibrant and beautiful, and I've heard, I'm not sure, but I may be wrong, that in San Francisco,
correct,
the numbers of homeless people lying in the streets is
it's enormous now.
It's enormous, and it's not giving a good picture of the city. And there are some legislation right now which is protecting them. So, aside from the health condition, environment condition, they are becoming a security condition, where they go in supermarkets and places and steal,
yes,
because they have to live. Well, the amount of money which spent on supporting Israel war, not even the building Israel, but war, all these financial support could be partially used in the United States to make their situation better. And the party seems to is not really careful about this, not caring. And some polls in the area, especially where the Republican Party had the majority of votes, let's say these votes are beginning to diminish, and the chances of the Republican Party and representatives in the intermediate elections may be losing seats. Yes, if that happens, most likely the Senate and the Parliament or House of Representatives of the United States may shift and sway against President Trump's interest.
Now, Mr. Qabazard, unfortunately, we're quickly running out of time. I'd love to continue this interview with you, but for our final question, how can Kuwait and the GCC transform the current crisis and regional challenges into opportunities for sustainable growth and resilience to crisis?
That's a good question, because I believe, and it's a very important question, it's a very timely question. I think it's a requirement on us as nations. First, to make a data collection, a real serious data collection of how this conflict affected us in all aspects, primarily military, security, national unity among the people here. In Kuwait we have larger Kuwaiti nationals than we do, for instance, in Bahrain,
yes,
or in Qatar or the Emirates, in relation to the expatriates that are living there. So we must have a say into what did we learn. I don't say we gain, how much we lost, what we gained, but how much we learned from this. And all our service organizations, health, security, defense, roads, infrastructure, fire force, National Guard, all these entities, were affected one way or the other, directly or indirectly, because of the events which happened, which are, aggressive events towards Kuwait and Kuwait's interest.
Mm-hmm.
So these have to be collected and organized and put in certain priority list, and the Gulf states have to get together and decide what were they before this event, before this war started, how did they got affected during the war, and now that the war has stopped, at what position are we? Okay? And the effects, detrimental effects on us is too much, plenty, because all our oil industry has come to a halt.
Correct.
To get it started is another matter.
Yes.
It's not a switch. Okay? And to get it transported out of Kuwait through Hormuz is another challenge. And the price may go back to what it was before. I mean, now it's high because it's not available.
Mm-hmm.
Once all of a sudden becomes available, I'm sure the price is going to go down. So we may not benefit financially from the price fluctuation.
Mm-hmm.
Only maybe a limited amount if we had, in case we had some tankers outside the area and was sold at a higher price.
Mm-hmm.
But as a resource revenue, no, I don't think it's going to go back very quickly to what it used to be.
Well, Mr. Qabazard, unfortunately, that's all the time we have for this segment. And I'd just like to say there's only one way to find out how this will end, right?
Yes, inshallah, in good terms.
Inshallah, sir, truly. Ladies and gentlemen, that was Mr. Jassim Qabazard, an engineering consultant and businessman who is with us in the studio to give us insights and analysis of the current regional crisis. Now, ladies and gentlemen, we'll continue our live coverage, but after this short break.